Everyone in Hollywood says the same thing. If you work hard enough, you'll make it. But the old janitors, the night security guards, the people who have worked behind the scenes for decades, they say something very different. They say fame in Hollywood isn't given, it's chosen. Daniel Carter was a nobody. 28 years old, living in a tiny apartment in Los Angeles, auditioning almost every day and getting rejected every single time. 5 years of trying, 5 years of hearing the same sentence. Thanks for coming in, we'll call you. But they never did. His fridge was almost empty. His landlord had already sent 2 warning notices, and that night, while sitting alone in his dim apartment, Daniel stared at the glowing Hollywood sign outside his window. Millions of people dreamed about making it here, but only a few actually did. And Daniel was starting to realize maybe talent wasn't the reason. At exactly 2:13 a.m., his laptop screen suddenly turned on by itself. Daniel frowned. He was sure he'd shut it down. Then an email notification appeared. No sender name, no profile picture, just one subject line. We've been watching you. Daniel felt a strange chill crawl down his spine. He opened the email slowly. Inside was a single photo. A photo of him sitting in his apartment, taken from behind. Daniel's heart skipped, because the photo looked like it had been taken only seconds ago. Under the photo was a message. Short, cold. We know how badly you want to be famous. Then another line appeared. Meet us tonight. The message included an address. A mansion deep in the Hollywood Hills. Daniel recognized the area. Old money, old power. The kind of place where the richest people in Los Angeles lived. Or used to live. The final line of the email read, "Fame is a door. We hold the key." Daniel laughed nervously. It had to be a prank, right? But something about the photo, something about how recent it was, kept bothering him. Midnight. Daniel drove up the winding hill road. The deeper he went, the quieter the world became. No cars, no people, just the wind brushing through tall trees. And then he saw it. The mansion. Massive, dark, ancient. It looked abandoned. Broken statues stood in the garden like forgotten ghosts. But one thing immediately caught Daniel's attention. The front door was open. Daniel stepped inside. The air smelled old, like dust and candle wax. A long hallway stretched in front of him. Hundreds of candles lined the walls. But strangely, none of them flickered. The flames were completely still. At the end of the hallway was a large room. Inside sat 5 people around a circular table, all wearing black suits, all wearing silver masks, and all staring directly at Daniel. The door behind him slammed shut. Daniel jumped. One of the masked figures slowly leaned forward. "Daniel Carter," the man said calmly. "We've been observing your journey." "Who are you people?" The masked man tilted his head slightly. "We are the reason certain people become unforgettable." Another figure opened a thick leather book. Inside were hundreds of pages. Each page had a photograph, a celebrity, actors, singers, internet stars, some of the most famous people in the world. Below every photograph was a signature written in dark red ink. Daniel leaned closer. His stomach dropped. That wasn't ink. It was blood. The woman sitting at the table spoke softly. "Everyone you see here made the same choice. Fame in exchange for loyalty." Daniel swallowed. "What kind of loyalty?" The masked man placed a document on the table. A contract. At the bottom was an empty signature line, and beside it, a small silver blade. "All you must do," the man said, "is sign the contract with your blood." Daniel's chest tightened. "And what do you get in return?" The masked figures leaned back. The room suddenly felt colder. "You will become famous," the man said. "More famous than you ever imagined. Movies, interviews, millions of fans." Daniel stared at the contract, his entire dream sitting right in front of him. 5 years of struggling, 5 years of rejection, and now the door was finally open. But something felt wrong, very wrong. Daniel asked the question that had been sitting in the back of his mind. "What's the price?" The room went completely silent. None of the masked figures moved. Finally, the man spoke. "Nothing. For now. But one day," he continued, "when the time is right, we will come to collect." Daniel's hand trembled, but the dream was too powerful. Slowly, he picked up the blade. He cut his finger and signed the contract. The moment the blood touched the paper, all the candles in the room went out. Darkness swallowed the mansion, and in that darkness, Daniel heard whispers, hundreds of voices, soft, echoing, chanting his name. "Daniel, Daniel, Daniel." The candles suddenly reignited. The room was empty. The masked figures were gone. The table was gone. Only the contract remained. But now something new was written beneath his signature. Words that hadn't been there before. Daniel felt his stomach twist as he read them. 3 words. Collection date pending. 1 year later, Daniel Carter became one of Hollywood's biggest stars. But sometimes, during interviews, cameras capture something strange behind him. 5 shadowy figures standing silently in the background, waiting. Because in Hollywood, every contract eventually comes due.